As African leaders and business community depart Washington, D.C. after the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit, President Muhammadu Buhari tells corporate America that Nigeria is the best destination for investors. Minister of Trade and Investment, Niyi Adebayo, underscores Nigeria's wins at the summit in this interview with Arise correspondent Nkechi Nana.
Well, first of all, I think it's the invitation to the African Leaders Summit by President Biden is a timely one. Timely in the sense that America has for some time been slowing down in its trade relations with Africa, especially the last administration before President Biden's administration. But with coming into office of President Biden, he decided to continue what had been started by President Obama. And that's why he decided to invite all the African leaders to Washington to discuss various issues. And top of the agenda was trade with African countries. I think it's very significant. America has been a very, very influential country with regard to its trade with African countries. But in the last few years, it has lost ground to the Chinese, the Japanese, and to the Russians. So I think they're trying to get back on track with a view to trying to get the lead position in that area. I think, first of all, the more important thing was how did Africa sell itself? Because, as you're aware, Nigeria, like the other 53 African countries, have signed an agreement on the African Continental Free Trade Area. And for once, we decided that it is better that all of Africa sit together and approach this matter as one unit, as opposed to going as individual countries. So what we did this time was, before the summit itself, the African Union Ministers of Trade, the Ministers of Trade under the African Union countries, all got together, we sat together and reached certain agreements, which we now presented to the American government with a view to what we feel should be implemented with regard to our trade relationships. On top of the agenda was AGOA, the African Growth Opportunities Act, which is due to expire in 2025. We have made a request that it should be extended. We have made a request that the conditions by which people can benefit from it should be relaxed. We believe the conditions that have been placed in place are too difficult. We have insisted that lobby should be, the American Congress should be lobbied to be able to pass the law that will extend the act by the end of next year, so that at least we know that the program will be extended. And luckily, we had a good meeting with the American Trade Representative, Ambassador Tai, and she did something which was very, very smart and very, very good. She invited members of Congress to sit with us to hear from us, the African trade ministers, exactly what we wanted from America with regard to the AGOA. And what does Nigeria stand to gain? Nigeria stands to gain the most, really, because of the 1.3 billion people in Africa, Nigeria on its own has over 200 million people. We're looking at 210, 220 million people. So that makes Nigeria the largest individual group within the African Continental Free Trade Area. So anybody who wants to do business in Africa, I always say, has to come and do business in Nigeria, because you have the largest market in Africa resides in Nigeria. So all we have to do and continue to do, which President Buhari has been doing, is to improve our infrastructure, improve the state of mind of our people, our officials, our MDAs with regard to the ease of doing business, to make business easy for people to operate, to make it easy for business people to operate in Nigeria. We also held a business forum, and at that business forum, Mr. President met with the Corporate Council on Africa, which is a group of businesses who do business in Africa and in Nigeria. And they had good things to say for of this administration. Of course, there were various requests that were being made, but most of it has to do with access to foreign exchange and obviously the power situation in the country. And The president has given assurances that that this administration will continue to improve on infrastructure. So that has given them some relief and some succor. The whole idea is for Sun corporations to come and put in place off-grid solar-powered electricity in various towns and cities in the country. What was signed was an implementation agreement that Nigeria agreed to implement the project. Certain steps still need to be taken, and when we go back home, the ministries responsible, that's the Ministry of Power and the Ministry of Finance, will now kickstart the process so that the proper contracts can be signed and the project can be implemented. I signed on behalf of the country because it's an investment that is being made in the country, and I am Minister of Investment. Well, the things that we have put in place are things that it will be in the interest of any administration. Any administration will realize that these things that we are putting in place are in the interest of Nigeria. It's not about personal interest, it's about the interest of the people, of our people, the Nigerian people. So it's in the interest of any administration to continue with the policies and programs that we have put in place. I believe that Nigeria's participation in this US-Africa Leaders Summit has been a successful one. I continue to commend the efforts of my boss, the president of the country, General Buhari, who led us here. And I'm always proud when I'm amongst other African colleagues, and the respect and honor that is always accorded to our president, President Buhari, because of the role that he's played as one of the leaders of Africa.